you know what I'm saying? I got around my family, my kids. I fed this dude, you know what I mean? Even when many people thought I outgrew him, many wanted me to fire him, but I kept him on board, you know what I'm saying? And to hear all these things that he's saying is crazy.
Those are the words of Deontay Wilder as he responds on 78 Sports TV in his tell-all interview about his reaction of Mark Breland and what Mark Breland had to say to Mr. Tunde and Mr. Farron. Now, as you guys heard Wilder say that he had this guy around for so long, he had him around his kids, he fed this dude, and he just can't believe the things that Mark Breland said about him. And what's my counterpunch to that? Let's look at what happened. So we have to backtrack. We heard rumors until the rumors were confirmed true thoughts of Deontay Wilder that he felt Mark Breland spiked his water. He believed that. Okay? He believed that Mark Breland did it. He said a lot of things happen in the sport of boxing, so Mark finally responds. My counterpunch to that is, who started this shit? Was it Mark Breland? You're upset that he said all these things about you, but you came on national television on Brian Kushner's podcast and told this man that you thought that your coach of 12 years, you thought he cheated you. You could have kept that shit to yourself. What, you didn't expect him to finally respond? He was going to respond at some point. He was just really like, I guess, all the buzz and everything like that. He didn't really want to respond like, yo, I'm not going to do that. But then he does that. But he has every right to do that. I mean, because honestly, he could have done something else. But I'm going to get to that here in a second. But to Counterpunch 78 Sports TV, he said that Mark Breland said that, oh, he didn't care if he cheated or not. You couldn't beat Tyson Fury, and you couldn't beat Tyson Fury. First of all, he didn't say that. He never said if he did cheat, he couldn't beat him. Even if he cheated him, he couldn't beat him. No, he did not say that. So I don't appreciate him. You know, you have to, you're reaching and you're putting words in people's mouth. That's not right. Okay, you're trying to twist what the man said, and this is exactly what he said. He said, did he cheat? I seriously doubt it. But he couldn't beat Tyson Fury anyway. That doesn't mean he doesn't care if he cheated. You couldn't beat Tyson Fury anyway. Those are two different things. Okay, so I have to address that. Okay. But back to the Wilder with Mark Breland. Wilder with Mark Breland. He said that he outgrew him as a coach. Well, that's your fault. And if you said people wanted you to fire Mark Breland, you've outgrew Mark Breland. Now you decide after 11, 12 years to do something that you should have done years ago. And I used to give Wilder a pass. I really did when it came to people of his team. And you guys know how I feel about Wilder's team. You guys know that I think that, hey, he should have got rid of a lot of people. He should have addressed the Shelly Finkel issue, or the comments that Shelly Finkel said towards him when Vladimir Klitschko was on top. Okay, and he was just a quote-unquote baby. Those type of things. He should have got rid of him then, but he did not do that. Okay, he didn't do nothing of the sort. So to say, oh, well, I outgrew Mark Breland, well, that's your fault. Because if you think that you outgrew Mark Breland, but then yet, here's the counter, guys. Mark Breland said that this man don't listen. He said he didn't train. Deontay Wilder admitted he didn't train. So whose fault is that? Is that the trainer's fault? Is that the trainer's fault that you didn't train? or you didn't do the correct things instructed by the trainer. That's just like blaming the teacher when you go home and you don't do your homework. And your teacher tells you, hey, you know something? We need you to do work and read the questions on pages 103 through 109. And you go home and don't do none of the shit, and then you fail. And then the first thing you do, you blame the teacher. You can't blame the teacher. You can't blame that person for something that you supposed to have done. Okay? In talking about, oh man, I had him around for so long. How could he say this about me? You started it. You created this for yourself. Glaz. Remember that? You said about Dillian White or whoever the fuck you said it about? You said that. This is exactly what it is. For every action, this is the reaction. You said that about this man, and then this man said and defended himself finally. Right? The counterpunch both Mark Breland and Deontay Wilder. I don't see why Mark Breland just didn't come out earlier. But I mean, I guess if somebody does things when they want to do it. Whatever. Right? Because Wilder, he took his sweet time to admit how he felt about what happened that night. And that was 1,000 different things, right? Okay, so Mark Breland had the same effect. But I guarantee you this, okay, because there's going to be many volumes of this because I got to dissect this thing and I don't want the videos to go too long, right? If Deontay Wilder wouldn't have came out with what he said about or what he felt about Mark Breland doing such a hideous thing by spiking his water, you wouldn't have had Mark Breland coming forth and having that interview. That interview wouldn't exist if he wouldn't have done what he done. So at the end of the day, Wilder's sitting there like, man, I can't believe he did this to me, but he created that. He created that man to say something about me. That's what you did. He didn't have to add that in there. He could have kept that by himself because he knows damn well that's something that he will not be able to prove. That's why I think he said, I believe he did. But he said Tyson Fury cheated. You see the difference? In the Brian Custer interview, if you go back and listen, he said that I believed Mark Breland spiked my water. And even Brian Custer asked him, you remember that? He was like, you don't believe that really, do you? Right? And he said, man, there's a lot of things you don't want to believe. Right? And he went on with that, but it was that believe. It wasn't a definite like he said about Tyson Fury. Okay? But he created that at the end of the day. And I don't see how he can be so surprised that this man has decided to defend himself. Was what was said about him from you. Counterpunch. But anyway, this is the first volume of this particular interview. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.